I enjoyed managing a London club. That was really the supporters there are just unbelievable. They you know, obviously I've got an unbelievable association with Stoke, but the Palace supporters again were just absolutely fantastic. You know, a group of support. We were struggling at the bottom of the league. Obviously, I had fabulous manager of the year at the end of the season for what we achieved. It was different. I didn't have that. I didn't have that time. I was only there 7-8 months. I didn't have that time really to dig as deep as what I could do at Stoke. And whether you'd ever get that opportunity or not there, I don't know. I didn't give it that chance. So, but you know, obviously it was a fabulous time on the playing side. We got Hennessy, Ledley, people in like that who made the difference. We got Tom Ince. I'm just trying to think of the centre half now that we got as well, who did brilliant for us. Oh, blimey, what's his name? Anyway, we got the backbone of the team sorted out. And once we did that, we had Bolasie on one side, Puncheon on the other side. It was a completely different set of rules in respect of the way we played than what we did at Stoke. At Stoke, we built it into a big, powerful, strong side that could play forward and play off balls and then get it wide, get the ball in the box. We had Crouchy and people like that. You go through it. At Palace, we didn't have that. We had Chamakh, who played as a 10. Cameron Jerome, it was quick, one brilliant in the air, but was quick. And we had those two wonderful players out wide, you know, Bolasie and Puncheon. Puncheon was a great footballer. I don't think he was ever given the credit that he deserved, because he was an intelligent player, and we had him and Chamakh really, who were our two. You know, they were really good, intelligent players, and we built the team really around Puncheon, Bolasie, and Chamakh. The rest of the group were very, very honest, hard-working people, but those three were really the ones that made us play and made us what we were eventually. I think we finished 11th or whatever in the end. You know, I had to change all my dynamics of how I coached maybe the previous 10 years. I had to change it completely for this group of players.
The reason I was going to ask that is very much around based on, you know, the current Premier League at the minute. So you see managers come in and you always hear these buzzwords around culture and changing an identity in a winning way. Obviously, that short period that you had there at Palace, Tony, it was instantly implemented. I'm just interested in how you dealt with that as a manager. How do you do such thing?
I've always had quite a strong feeling and an eye for people's strengths and people's weaknesses. And I think if you're going to put a team together, sometimes you're not picking the best individuals. You're actually picking the best players to fit a team that can go out and win on a Saturday. The fact that we worked in such a way at Stoke, you know, I have to say, come the end of the last 2 years at Stoke with Etherington and Pennant wide, we had some good footballers in that team as well. You know, people thought we were and we played to that. You know, we're just big and strong, and Rory's throws and this, that, and the other, and it's all going to be. We were better than that. You know, you don't do what Stoke did by just kicking it down the middle of the pitch. So going to Palace and looking at the different strengths and the weaknesses, we knew we had to get a backbone. So we got those 3-4 players in the window. As soon as we got them in, we had the players to set up a system where we could counterattack. Puncheon could keep the ball. Chamakh could keep the ball in tight areas. We could give it to Yala. Yala would run the ball down the pitch and get us down the pitch. So we could play deeper than most teams. We could set up in a very, very solid, and I mean a solid system, but also play quickly through the pitch. And that's what we did. Puncheon and Chamakh would get balls in tight areas and just release players. And once we released Bolasie, you know, or Punch or Cameron, Jerome, who was really, really quick, we caused people havoc.
Tony, obviously following that spell at Palace, West Brom, 1,000 games managed Can you give some insight on the longevity there, and what would you say that's down to in terms of being consistently in the game? Do you have a reason why you've managed so many games overall?
I think if you look at the clubs I've been at and what I've done and what I haven't done, I think I've most probably overachieved, and that's why people have liked me, because I could get results from not a lot of the budgets weren't, I wasn't spending fortunes and bringing all these players in and then being successful. Whatever I was given, I really worked very, very hard to try and make that successful. And I think that was one of my strengths. I think the other thing is that I always realized and recognized that every team I managed had different strengths. And how could you put those strengths or culminate and bring them all together to make a successful team, a team that could win? Because, Christy, for all what's said and done, and we've just had examples now over the last couple of days, all this talk about, I'm playing a beautiful game, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. If you don't win, you ain't going to be a manager very long. It's not going to happen. Yeah, stick to your principles, do what you got to do. But my biggest principle was I wanted to win for the club and the supporters. I wasn't doing it for Tony Pulis. That I was trying to find a way for the club and the supporters. And then obviously reflected glory would come to me on the basis of doing that. But my priority was the football club and to win games.
Just your career overall, Tony, is there anything that you wished you could have done more? You mentioned the element of being in Europe and the FA Cup final with Stoke. Is there anything that you've kind of reflect on and go, I wish that was better for me?
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, I wish we'd have beaten Man City in the '99 playoff final. I wish we'd have beaten Man City in the blinking FA Cup final in 2011. There's it's all sorts of stuff. Christy, blimey, I look back. This is a boy. 8 of us lived in a little terrace house down the docks in South Wales, and I've managed to stay in football for a million years, and the experiences that I've had because of the professional game is just, it's just extraordinary. I've been gifted. I've been really, really looked after. I've been gifted in lots and lots of ways. Yes, there's been times where it's been disappointing. There's been times where it's been tough, but that's, that happens with everybody, and I think that happens in life. The most important thing is that you give. I think if you're working for someone and they're paying you, and I think sometimes people forget that, especially at football clubs. I've been in football clubs where I've walked through the door and there's people around the football clubs that, they think the club are doing them a favour by paying them instead of working their socks off for the football club and for that, main aim. And I think that I think sometimes that happens in life. I've never been that way. I've always, like I say, stripped myself down, opened myself up and said, right, this is the way we're going. We're going to work harder than anybody else. We're going to be more organised. We're going to be more set. And I think all that comes from that togetherness. I really do think that by pushing people in the right way and directing them in the right way, actually, in the end, the players really enjoy it. They'll moan and groan at the beginning, but they realise they're being taken to their limits. But they're not only being taken to their limits, they're being taken to their limits as a group, and they stick together like a group. You haven't talked about pre-season. Our pre-seasons in Austria were really, really tough. Up at 6 o'clock in the morning, they'd work then. They'd either cycle or run these hills that you take oxygen masks up there in the end because it was, you're struggling for air. They'd do that. They'd moan and groan like drains. Then work them in the gym in the afternoon or at lunchtime. They go and have an hour's sleep. Then you take them down the football field and all of that. You talk to the players now who work with me, they all go, God, Gaffer, what about Austria? Wasn't it fantastic? What an experience. At the time, they all found it difficult, but You know, that it brought them together, and it brought that spirit that you need, that desire. That if you're a smaller club, or if you haven't got the resources that the bigger clubs have got, that's so important.